I'm Janet Kinchelo Martin with Calhoun Community College, and welcome to this edition of the Calhoun Review. I'm really excited about our guest today because she is relatively new to the college, and when I say relatively, it's like once you've been here one day, you've been here like forever. But anyway, our guest today is Dr. Kimball Chambers, and Kemba is the dean for our Math, Science, and Pre-Engineering division, and I stopped because sometimes I want to give her another division, which is not hers. But with that, Kemba, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And like I said, you've been here a relatively short period of time, less than a year, but it seems like you've been here forever, and in a good way, because you literally hit the ground running. You came right as we were getting ready for fall semester, and we are almost a year.
Yes.
Yeah, like a whole academic year, and you've been with us. But while you're new to Calhoun, you're not really new to the Alabama two-year college system. So tell us a little bit about, your background and some of the things you've done before coming to Calhoun, and just what brought you to Calhoun.
I've been in education for the last 18 years.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like it.
She started when she was
yes,
2.
2 years old. And prior to coming to Calhoun, I served as the Associate Dean of Instruction at J.F. Drake State Community and Technical College. I've also served as the Interim Department Chair of Math and Science at Chattahoochee Valley Community College, so I've had extensive experience in the two-year college system. And I also worked as a high school mathematics teacher for 4 years prior to coming into the two-year system.
Okay, and also a product of the two-year college system.
Yes, I did graduate from Chattahoochee Valley Community College. And I feel like I was born at Chattahoochee Valley Community College because my father was there.
So
yes.
she has a legacy with the two-year college system, as you can well see. And it's good, I think, because you have really grown up in the two-year college system in the state of Alabama. So when people, particularly students or potential students, ask you about the system, you truly can tell them from both sides of the coin, from the student side as well as the instructor side and then the administrator side, about the system. Tell us a little bit about kind of what's happening in your division, because once you came, your division changed a little bit, because prior to your coming, the previous dean, the division was called Math and Science, and so it's been extended a bit, and that it now includes pre-engineering. So talk to us a little bit about that mix.
Well, our division is composed of mathematics, natural sciences, and pre-engineering. And right now we offer an engineering course in our division for students that are transferring to a 4-year institution. And when I first got to Calhoun, my priority was to make sure that it was a class that would be able to transfer to
and not just a class saying, oh, I took an engineering class. But yeah,
exactly. So I met with the Dean of Engineering at Alabama A&M University and University of Alabama in Huntsville. And once we communicated, we found a niche that would work for our students to transfer. And one area that they're focused on is making sure that our students have all of the calculus classes, all of their math classes, and that engineering class that we have, so that when they transfer, they won't have any problems with transfer and they'll ease into the program smoothly.
And so many of our students do transfer to UA Huntsville and to Alabama A&M and to other colleges in the state, but you would certainly think, because our students are pretty much local, that they would transfer to those local institutions, and they do quite well when they transfer to those local institutions because of the kinds of initiatives that you've put into place, so that transfer is basically seamless for them.
Exactly.
Because that's one thing I think, particularly as parents who are sometimes paying tuition for their students, is that they want to make sure that whatever they're taking, that they're not going to lose any time or any credits, which means that they're going to lose money. So it's good news for them also that transition is seamless.
Yes.
Now, your division is one of those that, for a lot of students, they want to shy away from, and not just college level students, but but it sometimes starts early on, which is unfortunate, because when they're younger, they get excited about math. My little grandson is 5, and he does math just like that, but he's not at the point now where somebody has instilled in him this fear or dislike of math that he can't do it. Talk to us a little bit about why you think it is, because you have taught math at various levels of the education spectrum. Why do students shy away from math and science?
I don't know.
Answer of the century.
I know, you just love it. But when I was teaching high school math, one thing that I noticed when students entered high school, something happened early on, like you said. Students in elementary school, they like it. That middle school, something happens to me, and I always wanted to understand what is it or what happens in middle school. And we have different methods that we're teaching students now, but I noticed that one thing is missing, and it's just doing problems or working on problems or exposing children to different fields in math or connecting math to various areas, and teachers just shy away from it.
So you think a lot of it maybe has to do with the fact that they learn math and they have to learn all these problems and ways to do math, and they don't necessarily, they see it as working problems and not necessarily seeing it as an application to something.
Exactly. Or teachers have to teach in order to have students to pass a test.
Okay.
And so that's what they're doing. But instead of applying it to show students, you're going to use this in life somewhere.
I'm not just telling you that so you'll pass the class. Yeah.
Because the first thing to me that students will always ask, where am I going to use this?
Yeah.
When is this going to benefit me in my career? And when you connect it and connect it to the career to say, okay, if I'm in machine tools, I'm using trigonometry.
Exactly.
So I'm able to understand that I have to know math and I have to know trigonometry so that I can perform a work skill so that I can go to the workforce and actually carry out my work skills.
But you know, using that as an example, it's interesting to me because I know you've known of students, and I know I've known of people personally that say, I can't do math, yet they use math theories in their job and they perform their job very well. And I'm thinking, you're using math, although you tell me you can't do math. So is it because they're not equating the two?
Exactly. And no one is making sure that they understand there is a connection.
Okay.
And I think that has to start early on. And even promoting STEM through in high school, in science clubs or math clubs.
So making it fun.
Exactly. And you have to. Because we have so many students, of course, when they enter college, they wait and take math because they fear it. And then they're hurting themselves by waiting to take it because it's something that they can use while they're in their programs here at college. So yes, just making that connection.
You know, we're talking about making a connection, and I'm telling you a very quick funny story. I have lots of stories about my grandson. For people who know me, they know this. But he was at my house a couple of weeks ago, and I have a two-story house, and he was downstairs and I was upstairs. And so he had said something, and he was giving me an ultimatum, which I really should have gotten on to him about. However, he started counting down, but he was counting up. He was counting by twos, and he's only 5 years old. And so I didn't fuss at him because I really wanted to see how far he was going to go counting by twos. And he got up to like 28. And I mean, just rattling them off. And then I realized he was kind of slowing down. So I realized he was probably saying 29, 30. So, but the thing is, he had an application for math.
Exactly. It connected for him.
Exactly. So there you go. So I think, like you said, if we can help students at an early age realize that this is not a bad thing, this is not something you have to take, but it's something that you're going to need, and it's something that you are going to be able to apply in all aspects of your life. I apply my math to shopping. Because I can tell you in a minute when somebody says, this is 30% off, how much is it going to be? I can tell you in a few seconds.
Exactly.
And people say, how do you do that? Because it has practical application to me. I need to know. I don't want to wait till I get up to the counter and they tell me something and I'm like, that's not right. I've already worked it out in my head.
Exactly.
So there is application for math. And talking about finding applications for math and science, because those are the two big areas that are in your division. Even though people that come to Calhoun can't necessarily get a degree in math and science from us, they have to transfer to another institution. There is practical application. And talk to us a little bit about how the programs in your division kind of marry with workforce development, because we talk a lot about workforce development here. And we say that everything we do is in some way connected to workforce development.
Well, just like I stated earlier about the machine tools program, I think we need to make a connection to show early on, even at Calhoun, that students taking the math classes here or they're taking the natural sciences classes here, our physics class, how it connects to the workforce. And when we look at our health sciences programs, even in anatomy, connecting it, you have to utilize this in order to be able to be successful in your career. When you go out to work, you need to know applications dealing with your systems, or you need to know how to use an angle in order to measure welding. So we have to make that connection. I think it starts with our faculty and connecting the faculty, like the math faculty with the welding faculty, or the math faculty with the machine tools faculty or the science faculty with the nursing faculty. And then if you bridge that connection there, I think that students would be able to understand and be able to go to the workforce to use those skills that they're learning in our division. I think that's what's important.
Okay. Do you get a lot of input? Because I know that some of our divisions and areas, just because of the nature of the kinds of coursework, and that they do lead directly to a job. For instance, a lot of the health programs, a lot of the things in the technologies area. But do you get a lot of input and support from business and industry with your programs?
And we do in biotechnology.
Okay.
We offer courses in biotechnology in our division, and it's not really a program, but the courses that we do offer in the division to help students lead to the workforce or to another degree. And we have an advisory committee that actually help us to determine maybe what we need to teach in the courses or different things that we need to utilize in the course so that when students actually come out of those courses, they're able to perform in the workforce. And
they know what the what's out there to meet them. Exactly. And that's one of the things I think that we've often, that we always pride ourselves on, is that particularly those programs that do lead to jobs directly, or even the ones like, for instance, in your area where students may have to transfer, that our students are ready, whether they are transferring or whether they're going directly into the workforce. We hear over and over and over just how prepared our students are. And I think a lot of it has to do with the things you've talked about. The fact that we do work with business and industry, and they do tell us what they need for our students to be able to do and know when they meet the workforce, or that you're working kind of across the spectrum with other departments, so that students are getting what they need if they're in health, that they're getting what they need in health as well as in the science area. And so I think that's great that we have kind of that seamless transition, not only from our institution to other institutions or to the workforce, but also within the institution.
Exactly.
Because oftentimes I think students that are in the technologies or the health areas, they say, well, this is what I want to go into, and they concentrate on that, and they don't realize that they need to take advantage of the other stuff that's on the other side, like the science and math and English and things that are in social sciences. Because we want them, once they leave, not only to be able to perform the job that they're being trained in, but to be well-rounded, because that's what employers are telling us, that they want employees that not only have the skill set, but also have the soft skills, as we call them.
And everyone is saying that now.
Yes, everybody.
And we go to restaurants now and notice people are lacking in soft skills, so it's very important. And every industry partners are saying that.
And you think that that's something that people would just know, and we just take it for granted that people should know that. But I think because of just the way that we educate students now, that we've gotten away from that. Because I know when I was in school, we learned those kinds of things in elementary school, and now I know that teachers say they don't have time for those kinds of things, and they probably don't, because they have a lot more challenges, I think, than we had when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah. But it should be a part, of the curriculum, where they may not set aside time, but just the way that you communicate to your students, and students can understand.
That's right. That's all part of it. That's all part of the learning experience. Yes. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about how you manage not only a division that's got lots of pieces and parts, but also a division that is housed on both campuses. You're like, okay, how much time do you have?
In 24 hours.
How do I manage that? Don't think about it, you do it.
That was the first for me. When I got to Calhoun, that was different, that I had to go to 2 different campuses. The only thing that I hate is that I can't set a schedule. Yeah. Because as you know, we have so many meetings.
That's right.
And, I would love to say.
That's part of it, too.
I would love to say I'm going to be here on Monday and Wednesday, here on Tuesday and Thursday. So I try to make sure at the beginning of the week, I tell Janet and Tiffany, okay, I'm going to be here these days.
And those are her secretaries.
But it helps to have the best department chairs, because I have the best department chairs, I think, at Calhoun. And so they're understanding and know where I am at all times, and if something happens and I'm not on a particular campus, they handle, situations. So that helps a lot.
And you have to be able, like you said, to have people that because you can't physically be in 2 places or more at the same time. Exactly. And so it's good, like you said, to have those people in place that that if something comes up, they're going to be able to handle it, or at least manage it until you can get back.
Yes.
Yeah. But you do have courses and programs that are within your division on both campuses, unlike some of the other deans. And so you do physically have to be on both campuses at some point during the week, and
Yes.
sometimes even in the same day.
I do that quite often.
Like every day, excuse me.
About 3 days a week. So, yes.
Okay, because I know that you have early days and sometimes late nights all in the same day. And
Yes.
so, yeah. But the thing is, that's one of the things that I think that our employees do very well here at Calhoun is that we, even though some of us have defined hours, some of us don't. Some of us are pretty much on call. But I think people come early and stay late. They do what they need to do in order to make sure that our students are served and that the community is served. And so I think that's probably, you probably were able to see that on day one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell us what you think, and maybe more than one thing, what you think is probably the greatest strength of your division, particularly since it is kind of multifaceted. And like I said, it may be more than one thing.
One thing I think is a great asset to our division is the faculty.
Okay.
Great faculty, and they're always willing to go out and learn. They want to learn, to see what's going on, to bring ideas back to our division. And right now we've been focusing on our developmental education math, so everyone has just been involved to see what ways we can actually get students through developmental education courses, at a faster pace, and making sure that we remediate students. But I would say the faculty is the greatest asset in our division overall.
And I think that if we ask any of the division chairs or even any of the department chairs, or I dare say students, I would think that they'd say faculty way quicker than they'd say any of us, so, which is what we're all about, because we are a teaching institution. I mean, our students come to us regardless of what their goal is. They come to us wanting to learn, whether it be to learn a particular skill or to get their first 2 years of transfer, or just to maybe pick up a class or two that they may need for their present job. They come to us wanting to learn. And I think something that you said is very interesting is that you have faculty that want to learn.
Yes.
Because, that we should all be lifelong learners, but it was not until I came here that I even heard a lot the term lifelong learner. Because a lot of people, I think, once they get their terminal degree, they're like, okay, I've been to school X number of years, I got my degree, okay, that's it. I don't want to learn anything else. But we should all want to learn, whether it be in a setting like a college or university, or just, learning from our next door neighbor, or learning from our children. We all should be open and want to learn things.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's good that your faculty do want to learn, but that also that you support them wanting to be able to go out, because oftentimes we bring people here, but oftentimes there are conferences and seminars and workshops that are not local, and so we have to make that commitment to have those resources available for those faculty, to not only to be able to travel dollar-wise, but also so that they know that they can leave their classroom maybe a day in a semester, and that you support them to be able to do that.
Yes, we actually have faculty within our division that have presented twice this year
Wow.
at national conferences.
Wow. And that speaks a lot to, I think, to the caliber of faculty that we have at Calhoun. Because, you could put our faculty up against any faculty in this country.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And we do very, very well. Something that I think is also neat in your area, you're talking about developmental education, and I know that that you all have done a lot of kind of cutting edge things, and we've gotten some grant monies to be able to do those kinds of things. And I know that you all are doing something, I think, with iPads in some of the developmental classes. So you do a lot of innovative kinds of things, I think, also to keep students engaged.
And one thing that we're working on now, we're looking at different software that we can utilize in different classes. Right now we've been using the same software in all of our developmental classes, so we're looking to explore different software packages. Maybe we can try with one class to see what works, or what type of areas we need to concentrate on a little bit more in math to help them just transition through those classes.
And that's one of the things too I like about you, because you talk about meetings. We have lots of meetings. We have dean's meetings, and we have president staff meetings, and we have all kinds of meetings. But that's one thing that I've really appreciated about you, because we have what we call round robin, where we go around the table and basically report about what's happening in our area. And you always are bringing innovative kinds of things to the table, and you'll say, well, we're going to try this and see if this works. And I think that that to be innovative, you have to kind of adapt a feeling of some level of risk.
True.
Because if you don't try, you don't know whether it's going to work or not.
You're right.
And the thing that I like too about you is that you were saying that we're going to try this in this class. It might work with this class, but maybe not with this class. And so sometimes that you have to do those kinds of things in order to be able to, again, teach people, because we want to teach people at where they are.
Yes.
And so you have to use different techniques for different people, because people will call me and they'll tell me things. I'm like, look, can you send it to me? Because I have to see things. I'm a very visual learner. I mean, I hear it, but it's sort of kind of like I hear lots of other things too. So it's like, I got to see it in order to be able to retain it. So people do learn all kinds of ways, and we try to present information to them the best way that they're going to be able to absorb it. Talk to me a little bit. We talked about innovation, about if you had unlimited resources. Dr. Beck, that's our president. She's going to hear and see this. But if you had unlimited resources, what would be on your wish list for your division?
Well, one thing that we are going to try to do, we're going to try to have an annual math tournament. Hopefully next spring.
Okay.
I know my division's gonna look like it. We talked about it. So,
you know what you're talking about.
And I think that this would be great for the college in a whole to bring, like we just discussed, about high school students coming to campus, those that want to look at STEM a little bit more, be involved in different areas of the college, and I think it will actually help promote our division and help promote the college in the same way too. So
it also will, I think, get some math instructors on campus.
Exactly.
So
to see what we're doing.
Exactly. Because I think oftentimes although not as much as it used to happen, but I think sometimes when we say that we're doing this at the community college level, people are a little surprised.
Right.
that we have the resources that we have, and oftentimes they'll drive by and they'll see a nice campus, a nice facility, but they don't often know what's going on behind our doors, and so we want to invite them to be on campus for various things, and so I like that. And it's interesting that Dr. Chambers, her direct supervisor is our Vice President for Instruction and Student Success, Alicia Taylor, who is also a math instructor.
Yes.
And our President, Dr. Marilyn Beck, is also a math instructor. So we have it at all levels.
So that's why I have to always stay on top.
That's right. So I was going to say, actually, two-edged sword, because like you said, it's good because they will support you, I think. Not that they don't support everybody, but they understand what's going on in the math level. So I think that they really want to support some of the innovative things that you're doing, but also, like you said, you can't pull the wool over their eyes. So like some people would say, oh yeah, we have this going on, and you can make it sound really impressive, and they're like, okay, but in your area they're like, no, Kemba, that's not, I know that that's not.
And one thing our natural sciences department is trying to do, we're trying to get an animatage table.
Okay, no, I heard you talk about that the other day, and I wanted to ask what that was, and somebody started talking, and I didn't get a chance to ask, so I'm going to ask now, because I don't know what that is.
Well, it's actually a table. We're trying to do it with health sciences, and it's actually, because we don't have a cadaver lab, and it's actually a table that you can do dissections on, and you can actually look at the MRI scans and different scans like this. So we're really excited. We're hoping we'll keep that's what we really want. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Very good. Well, as soon as we find out about that, and once we have it, we'll have to have it, because we like big to-dos around here as well. As if you haven't already guessed that, we're always having big to-dos, so we'll have to have a big to-do when we get that now. Animatage?
Yes.
Animatage table.
Okay. Took me a long time to learn how to spell it. They say anatomy, like, okay. I said, okay. So
where will it be housed? In the health area and science area? Or?
We don't know yet.
Okay. Got to work that out. So
we're keeping our fingers crossed.
That'd be a nice little toy to have. Create some excitement with students, because that's another thing too, particularly with at all levels, but particularly with students coming out right out of high school. They have so many resources at the high school level these days. I'm amazed at what these students have access to and have resources. And so they expect to see those same kinds of things when they come to college. And so we have to keep up.
Yes, we do.
Because they're coming out of school, they all have access to iPads and all kinds of electronic devices, and so they expect that same level of support when they come to the college level, and so we have to be able to provide that.
Yes.
As you're looking forward in your division and as it continues to grow, because so many of the students that come to Calhoun, regardless of their area, have to come through classes in your division. And so a lot of the students, a lot of our 11,500 plus students, you will see in your division. So as you look forward to your division, and also as we look forward to what's going to be happening at the Huntsville campus, because you're going to have a big part of that, and that's exciting.
It is.
What are some things that you think that are going to need to happen for us to kind of remain on the cutting edge and be able to provide those kinds of things that students are expecting?
Like you said, we have to stay abreast of what's going on in technology. I mean, just like you stated, so many of our students, they have so much in high school, so we have to keep on that same level. That's number one. And with our influx of our online programs now, so we have to keep doing things in online and distance learning.
More and more people are beginning to look at those distance education classes as an option for them, because they have very, very busy schedules and they can't sit in a traditional classroom setting. And so, that, like you said, that's a growing area for us all across the board.
And we notice even with doing the schedules, like for a spring semester schedule in the summer, how those late evening classes are slowly diminishing because of students going into online classes now. So looking at all of that together, we just have to stay focused on those areas.
So more and more and more on your plate, on the front burner, huh? But we're winding down with time, but I do very quickly want to talk about the Huntsville campus, because we've been excited about that. And I know a little bit of excitement kind of waned a bit because we were waiting to get some things in place, and we've had approval for over a year now, but excitement's going to building again, and so you're going to have a big part to play in what's going to be happening at the Huntsville campus.
Yes. We went to look at some buildings, so we really got excited about that.
I want all that, yeah.
This is what I want. So we are excited about that and look forward to our math and our natural sciences department moving in that new building.
Very good, very good. You'll be hearing more about that and seeing more about that as plans develop. But Dr. Kimball Chambers, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for being a part of this institution. Again, like I said, I've known Kemba. Actually, I knew her before she came, and so, and actually I think I saw her more before she came to Calhoun than I see her now. We are literally like just a few steps from one another. But that just goes to show you how busy she is. But we do so appreciate you being with us and being a part of the Calhoun family, and just value what you bring to the institution.
Well, thank you so much.
And thank you for being with us for this issue of the Calhoun Review. And so more people maybe have seen your name, so now they know what you look like.
Okay.
And you'll have to be back with us once we do more with the Huntsville campus to kind of fill us in on what's going on there.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us for this issue of the Calhoun Review. If you want to know more about Calhoun and all the things we talked about today, you can visit our website at calhoun.edu. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you again next time.